What is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why you should buy the iPhone XS for going into 2022. Guys, this is my number one favorite budget iPhone at the moment right now. You can pick it up for 330 bucks. I have that link down below. I got it refurbished, and shout out to the guy who did this because it is absolutely flawless here. No scratches on the front or back. This is the best refurbished phone I think I've ever gotten. So let's go ahead and jump into my number one favorite thing is the chipset in here. So we are rocking the Apple A12 chip. That is extremely important here because this chipset is very capable of playing games at the highest settings like PUBG, and it's also just speeds through iOS. You just don't really get that lag and hiccup like you do on some older iPhones here. And we're running iOS 15.2 here, and this phone has 64 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM on here. Now, as you can see, when I bring up PUBG here, as you can see, we can play it on HDR Extreme and even Ultra HD. And the gaming experience on here is super smooth, guys. It's very smooth. One of my favorite things about this phone. So if you're thinking about picking up an iPhone for cheap and you wanted to play the latest games with no problems or no issues, the XS is probably one of the best phones that you can get for that. So next is actually going to be the display on here. So this has a OLED display, and the reason why I like this OLED display so much is because at this price point, the iPhone SE 2020 and the iPhone XR have IPS panels. The Super Retina OLED display looks much better. It's more color accurate, and also it's just easier for me on the eyes as well. I just really love the display on here. It's 1125 by 2436, 458 for the PPI. So it's just a higher res display than the XR and the SE 2020. So I think that it's just a phenomenal display that you're getting for this price. That's one of the main reasons why I really like this phone over the other budget options. And yeah, so the display on here is really nice. It's at 5.8 inches. And yeah, so I just don't have any problems. That's one of my main things. I took it outdoors when I was taking photos and stuff like that, and it gets really bright. I have to turn it down. But even indoors, you can see it gets super bright. So it's just a beautiful, very color accurate display on here. And like I said, the XR is the same price as this phone, but this phone is giving you an OLED display instead of the IPS display. So I would definitely take that into consideration when you're watching videos or whatever. This is just going to look much better. Alright, so number 3 is going to be the image quality. So we do have a dual camera setup on here, 12 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel telephoto with 2x optical zoom, and then 4K video at 2430 and 60 FPS, and then a 7 megapixel selfie on here that shoots in 1080p 60. So image quality on here is actually pretty good, guys. I was really impressed with how my shots came out, especially for an older flagship phone here. I think they're still pretty much on par. I'll do a comparison with the 13 and 13 Pro. But guys, I really liked how the images came out. It wasn't super sunny outside, but dynamic range looked really good on here still. Also, the white balance was really nice on here. Detail was good. The telephoto lens gave you a nice crispy shot still. So I was a big fan of this camera. The selfie camera is really good, and I think the video looks really good too. So overall, I was just really impressed with image quality. And like I said, it wasn't sunny, and I was still pretty impressed. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the video as well. Alright guys, here's the video on the XS. See, you got my telephoto lens. Do a little walk around. Alright, so next would be the build quality here. And this phone has a really nice design. So some phones at $300, they usually have plastic designs. This still has a very modern looking design here. It's a glass and metal design. It even has IP68 dust and water resistant on here as well. So you can get this phone wet and it won't break. immediately or anything like that. Face ID is on here. It works flawlessly. Don't have an issue with that. And also we do have wireless charging on here, so we get a nice few bells and whistles on here. We do have Apple Pay with the NFC as well too. So overall, I think build quality looks really good on this phone. And as far as the battery, it has a 2658 milliamp battery with 15-watt charging on here. This phone will usually get you around 6 hours of screen on time, which is a full day for most people. So I think battery life is still pretty good on the XS as well here. So overall, you're just getting a really nice package here, again, for that $300 price point. Now, lastly, I'm a huge fan of the stereo speakers on this phone here. So I'm gonna crank them all the way up. They are very impressive. They're just super loud sounding stereo speakers here. Tons of bass on these as well. So that is one thing that I really like. Even if you cover it up, you're still getting a pretty good sound out of this speaker here as well too. So no distortion. Everything just sounds super clean on these speakers here. So overall, the iPhone XS is my favorite iPhone and really starting to become one of my favorite phones in the $300 price point here. It's really almost a flawless phone here. You got great cameras, great build quality, great screen on here, also great speakers, and then the A12 chip is really the icing on the cake. So I can see this phone easily getting 3 more years of software updates. So what do you guys think about the XS? Would you guys buy one? Do you guys want one? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.